Hello, hello. My name is Amber Stewart. I am a fitness specialist at the Baptist Healthplex Jackson Fitness Center, and I also have my own online wellness business called the Stew Project, where I help individuals maximize their living potential by living by simply taking an emphasis on wellness. This is my seminar on mastering your metabolism for sustained vitality, and I thank you for joining. So, in this seminar, we will be discussing what metabolism is, the science of metabolism and aging, the three biggest metabolism disruptors, how stress affects your metabolism, and how to overcome roadblocks and create long term metabolic health at any age. So, first things first, what is metabolism? So, metabolism is essentially how our bodies convert food into energy. On a cellular level, cellular metabolism is comprised of the chemical reactions that occur in living cells. Broadly, these reactions can be divided into catabolic reactions that convert nutrients to energy and anabolic reactions that lead to the synthesis of larger biomolecules. Metabolism is dependent on three different mechanisms or pathways. The first is your basal metabolic rate, or your BMR, and this is the amount of energy needed while resting in a temperate environment when the digestive system is inactive. So this is if you were just laying down doing nothing all day, just breathing, just alive and breathing. This is essentially as many calories that would be needed for your body to just sustain that function, to just breathe for the day. Now, the thermic effect of food, this refers to the increase in calorie burning that occurs after we eat food. And it's the body's process of digesting, absorbing, and metabolizing the nutrients. And there are a few factors that affect the TEF, and this includes nutrient composition. Protein has the highest TEF level, which is 20 to 30%, followed by carbs, which includes both your simple sugars and your fibers, and that ranges between 5 and 15%. Lastly, you have your fat, which goes between 0 and 5. We often store it as fat, fat is often stored as fat. So there you go. Other things that affect the TEF is meal size. So the larger the meal size, generally, the longer your body will metabolize it. Just think about how long it takes for you to, how long you're hungry after eating a bowl of salad compared to eating a full rack of ribs. Like you're probably more full after the ribs, or more so than a salad. If you eat a simple salad, you're probably hungry like a few hours later. Ribs, you're probably done for the rest of the day. Spicy foods also can trigger the thermic effect of foods. Capsaicin, which is the compound found in chili peppers, has been known to increase the thermic effect of food. So if you want to lose weight, a good hack is to just make it spicy. Just put red pepper flakes, hot peppers, just try to eat as much spicy food as possible. Just be mindful on how it'll affect your stomach lining. It doesn't do that much of a big difference, but every little bit helps. So just keep that in mind. Fiber, foods high in fiber require more energy to digest. That's why it's on the 15% range for carbohydrates. Lastly, we have the physical activity energy expenditure, or the PAE. This refers to the amount of energy used by the body during any bodily movement, including everyday activities and exercises. Essentially, this is the energy burned above resting levels due to physical activity. It is a component of total energy expenditure and is influenced by factors like intensity, duration, and body size. Keep in mind, this includes both planned exercise and non-exercise activity thermogenesis, or NEAT. This includes things like shivering, tapping, pacing, just nodding your head, wiggling your fingers, fidgeting. These are other ways people burn calories. Other forms of NEAT exercises include walking, cleaning, gardening, taking the stairs, things like that. Now, sorry, I said that really loud. Getting into body fat. Essentially, body fat is just excess energy the body has stored for future use. Um, that's when your body's like, hey, I don't really need it right now. Let's just hold on to it. It's energy from food we have not used. So, if you wonder, like, why am I storing so much fat? One of the reasons you can think of it is, why would your body use body fat for energy if you're providing enough readily available energy every day through food? So some people have an issue of excess eating, whereas there's other issues as to why people gain body fat. And I'll go into deeper detail with this later in the seminar. But for now, I just want to touch on another common idea that people discuss when they're trying to lose fat is counting calories. Because I know a lot of people say, well, to lose a pound of fat in a week, your body has to burn 3,500 calories more than what you eat over that 7-day period. And, yeah, although that's true, but, there have been plenty of people who eat whatever they want to and still lose weight. So with that being said, the secret to really losing weight all comes into play with your hormones. And the main hormone to focus on is leptin, which is the weight loss hormone. And this controls your appetite, metabolic rate, and the accumulation of fat. And so if leptin drops too low, it slows your metabolism down. So the slower your metabolism, the slower your fat loss. The faster your metabolism, the faster your fat loss. I'm going to touch on this a little bit later, but I do want to mention that another hormone that plays hand in hand with leptin is ghrelin. And ghrelin is a hormone primarily produced in the stomach that plays a crucial role in regulating appetite and food intake. So this hormone functions to stimulate hunger, because it's often referred to as the hunger hormone, and it increases the feelings of hunger and prompts the body to seek food. So when you are sleepy and you have food cravings, it's the ghrelin that's being knocked off. So ghrelin levels rise before meals and fall after eating, ensuring that the body consumes enough calories. And I'll say that again, ghrelin levels rise before meals and fall after eating, ensuring that the body consumes enough calories. So by stimulating appetite and food intake, ghrelin can contribute to weight gain. So ghrelin hormone can be triggered with stress and other things. So anywho, we're about to touch on that in a little bit. So for now, when we're talking about fat loss and how to lose fat, the main idea when it comes to nutritionally speaking, the idea to boost leptin while losing fat is to just eat below maintenance. So this is when you get your caloric expenditure, ideally with your basal metabolic rate, which is that baseline. Also, what I like to do when I calculate my clients' macros, I take in consideration their exercise level as well as their stress level, and I factor that into it. So there's a certain calculator that I use in my coaching program to get that out. And so once we get that number, I create meal plans for each day using that caloric need. And so my clients, they just know it's like, okay, so I eat just this and I don't have to worry about anything else. So when you eat your calories near perfect for energy, just below maintenance, just below that ideal number for each day, the leptin triggers metabolism to increase. So they're saying like, hey, we're not getting enough calories readily through our daily meals. So we need to increase our metabolism because we need to start pulling from our fat stores. So your metabolism burns into the body fat stores for energy, and surprise, surprise, our fat loss begins. Now, while in a caloric deficit, if you want to keep the leptin running your metabolism as fast as possible, you will need to eat above your maintenance calories once per week. So give yourself a treat meal. And this will keep your body from thinking it's starving. Another thing you can do is to give yourself a cheat meal, not a cheat meal, but just a little simple cheat snack on a day that you have eaten super, super clean. And it'll help bring some balance to your life. I know sometimes it's super hard to do that. That's why I give my clients the 80-20 principle when it comes to eating clean. And that can either be 80-20 for the day or 80-20 for the week or month, or however you want to situate your 80-20, whatever works best for you. Now, another thing people often talk about is the thing about gaining weight, toning, and shaping up. Just want to let you know that regardless of whatever you call it, whether you want to call it toning up, shaping up, that is essentially when you lose fat and build muscle. If you just want to lose body fat, you run the risk of having saggy skin. And if you just gain muscle, you just run the risk of gaining weight, and that can just wreak havoc on your emotional well-being. It's like, hey, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do, but I'm not losing body fat. So you may feel yourself getting stronger. You may feel your energy increase. You may find it easier to do things during the day, but you may still find the scale going up. And this is because the body fat isn't being lost. And that is typically because you're not eating, either you're not eating enough in a calorie deficit, or you are having other factors that can hold you back, such as stress. Another thing to keep in mind when it comes to losing fat and building muscle is that at some point you may see changes in your clothes, but the scale may stay the same, or the scale may actually go up a little bit. And when this happens, this is why it's important to check your body fat percentage in congruence with what you see on the scale, to make sure that your body fat percentage is dropping down. And your body fat percentage is different than your BMI, because your BMI is just your waist to height ratio. And that isn't always accurate when it comes to talking about health. What's more accurate is your body fat percentage. So if you want to make sure that you're losing body fat when you're exercising, get a body fat calculator. I know the very first one I bought about 10 years ago when I first became a personal trainer, it was like $20 on Amazon, and it has been accurate, and it has helped me and many clients reach their fitness goals. So do not be afraid of getting a bioelectrical impedance machine. And what those do, they run a tiny electrical current throughout your body. And since your muscle is more water-based than fat, it runs a little calculation to determine which percentage of muscle to fat you have in your body. Things that can affect this would be your hydration. So if you're not really hydrated when you take the test, it can give you false readings. And another way people can test their body fat is to have a specialist do a skin fold test. And there are 5 different points. I want to say under the subscapular, the underneath the arm, the stomach, the chest, the thigh, and then there's some other places too. But yeah, and then you run calculations on that. That can be pretty accurate as much as the bioelectrical impedance, but it just depends on the practitioner that does it. So if you get like a new intern that is still in college, a sophomore or junior, you probably won't get as well as a skin fold test as somebody that has been like a 10, 20 year or 5-6 year fitness specialist. So if you're wondering, oh my goodness, if I strength train, I will get too fit and I will look too buff, look like Hulk Hogan or somebody, that won't happen. Just to let you know, less than 1% of the population look like a fitness model. So even the women who worry about getting bulky, women work out extremely long, extremely hard, and are extremely strict with their diet to do this. And the type of weight that you probably do will probably never get you these results. So hopefully that's a sigh of relief for you. Now, factors that affect your metabolism. First and foremost, body size. The more muscle you have, the more calories you burn. Then we have the gender. Men typically have more testosterone, so they're more prone to building muscle, which means they're more prone to building fat. Not building fat, to burning fat. And then you have hormones and drugs. If your hormones are imbalanced, if you had a hysterectomy, going through menopause, if you're having thyroid issues, or you can have side effects of stress or um, medications that can affect your metabolism. Your diet, the thermic effect of foods that can affect your metabolism. Natural foods actually increase your metabolism. Processed foods decrease your metabolism. If you think about it, um, if your cells are only used to getting um, if your cells are only used to getting like what broccoli, strawberries, and water for nutrients, and then you introduce some red dye 40, some yellow 20, some gluten, and some other additives and preservatives that your body does not know what to do with, um, it's not going to your metabolism is going to slow down. It's going to confuse your cells. Like, what the heck do I do with this? Like, can I put it in my mitochondria? No. Like, can I put it in my the ribosomes? No. Like, what do we do with it? And typically what happens is your body stores these toxins in your fat cells. And if you didn't know, fat cells, they do not only grow in number, but they grow in size as well. So that means that it is harder to lose weight, or it is easy to gain weight after you lose it, simply because when you lose weight, you don't lose the number of fat cells, but you lose, well, unless you get you get it like liposuctioned or something, but you don't lose the number of fat cells, but the cells, they shrink in size and the toxins come out. And this is another reason why when people lose weight, they start to feel uncomfortable, or they start to feel disgruntled, or it's hard for them to enjoy exercise when they first get started, simply because their body has a lot of toxins in that fat, and so they're moving it out of their body, which is why it's important to eat healthy when you're exercising and you're starting a fitness routine for the first time, because you are kickstarting your metabolism and allowing your body to move toxins out of the fat. So in order for you to lose fat, first you have to get the toxins out, and then the fat has to shrink in size, and this all takes time. So this is why it is important to do both, exercise and eat right, and then that mental health component as well, because it's going to be uncomfortable. Like, you're making changes not only in your health, but in your life too. Um, Also, other things that can affect your metabolism is exercise, the type of exercise, the duration of exercise, um, how long, how hard, yeah, the effort. This helps burn your calories. Yeah. And then lastly, the environment. The colder you are, the more calories you burn. This is one of the reasons why the silver lining to being in cold weather is because it helps build brown fat, which is basically when your fat has more mitochondria. And when your body's colder longer, you tend to do more non-exercise activity thermogenesis, or more neat movement, like you're shivering more, you're pacing, and you're walking around, you're shivering, rubbing your arms and hands together, blowing your mouth, blowing your hands with your mouth. You're doing extra movement, which burns more calories. And when this happens for long periods of time, your body's like, yo, we need more mitochondria in our cells to burn these fat cells so we can move more, so we can have more energy easily when we move. But there we go. Moving on to some good stuff. Well, sorry, it's going to get a little dark from here. I'm not going to lie. How metabolism changes with age. So as we age, metabolism tends to slow down, and sorry, I have to skip up. So as we age, metabolism tends to slow down, and it naturally slows 1 to 2% per decade after age 30. And this happens because as we age, our basal metabolic rate decreases due to muscle loss and slower cellular activity, meaning we burn fewer calories at rest. Also, sarcopenia, or age-related muscle loss and hormonal shifts with testosterone, estrogen, and our growth hormone, reduce muscle mass and increase fat storage, slowing our metabolism down further. And so, with the muscle loss and hormone changes, this leads to low energy and decreased physical activity. And so, since our lymphatic system doesn't have a body organ like the cardiovascular system has a heart, um, instead, our body has oh my gosh, lymph nodes, because yeah, a lymphatic system has lymph nodes. And so it relies on our movement. And so if you're not moving as much, your body isn't digesting as much. And if it's not digesting as much, or if it's not excreting or releasing toxins well, then it's not detoxing well. And so things get backed up. And so nutrient absorption is not well. And so this can have an impact on weight and body composition. And over time, this can lead to more issues. So if you don't maintain your metabolism and just allow these things to keep going down, this just leads to future weight problems. Your body shape goes down. And so then you start to get postural and back problems. What is it? The top main joint replacements is hip, knee, and I want to say shoulder, but it could be back. I know a lot of people have back issues. I worked with a client that had to get her entire spine realigned because she had really bad scoliosis. But anywho, you also get the risk of disease and health problems because, when you have posture and back problems, you don't want to move as much. So you don't move as much, your health goes down. It's a horrible cascade of events. And then your reduced mobility as you get older. And then not to mention your mental health goes down as well. Now, the three biggest metabolism disruptors. So the three things that people who feel like they eat right and they exercise, but they still don't see results in their fitness plan, could be one of these three metabolism disruptors. And that includes poor digestive health, chronic inflammation, and high blood sugar and insulin resistance. So, starting off with poor digestive health, the gut plays a central role for regulating the immune system, metabolism, and overall health. Imbalances like gut dysbiosis or in the gut microbiome, also leaky gut or intestinal permeability, and also low stomach acid can lead to chronic inflammation and blood sugar dysregulation. And a lot of people say you are what you eat, but the reality is you are what your body absorbs. And so if your body isn't absorbing correctly, then your cells aren't getting the nutrients they need to work optimally. Now, poor digestion can cause malabsorption of nutrients, leading to deficiencies that exacerbate inflammation and insulin resistance, going into chronic inflammation. When the gut lining is compromised, undigested food particles, toxins, and harmful bacteria can enter the bloodstream, triggering an immune response. This immune response leads to chronic low-grade inflammation, which can damage tissues, impair metabolic function, and increase stress on the body. And that's one thing about the body. It doesn't matter where the stress is coming from. It doesn't matter if it's coming from the traffic, your family issues, your job. It doesn't matter if it's coming from the food you eat, the toxic environment, the mold in your house. It affects your body the same way. So you can have stress coming from you from all levels, and you can get that chronic inflammation and not know why the swelling won't go down, why you have a hard time managing your blood pressure, why your allergies won't go away. Lastly, the third biggest metabolism disruptor, high blood sugar and insulin resistance. Now, chronic inflammation disrupts insulin signaling, making cells less responsive to insulin, and this leads to insulin resistance. Also, poor gut health leads to blood sugar spikes due to improper digestion of carbohydrates and altered gut microbiota, affecting glucose metabolism. Not to mention, chronic stress can lead to blood sugar spikes as well, and I will talk about that later. So, in summary, poor digestive health can lead to chronic inflammation and high blood sugar or insulin resistance. And if you're dealing with these issues, the main focus is to start with healing the gut first through an anti inflammatory diet, heal the gut with probiotics and prebiotics, get some digestive enzymes. And focus on stress reduction. And this can help prevent the cascade that leads to inflammation as well as other chronic conditions. So the top three killers worldwide, which all mainly come from lifestyle diseases, lifestyle habits, dietary and lifestyle habits. The first one, cardiovascular disease. The second one, stroke. And the third one, COPD. The first one, I want to touch on mainly because, it's number one, cardiovascular disease. And the main risk factors is a sedentary lifestyle, poor diet, obesity, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and stress or smoking. And if you ask me, all of these things can be avoided or managed with just lifestyle changes or even just mindset shifts as well, because stress is just your perception on how things are. And speaking of stress, talk about the stress metabolism connection real quick. Your body has two different pathways when it comes to how it handles stress. The first one is the fast acting pathway, which is SAM, and this is called the sympathetic adrenal medullary pathway. And it's when you have your stressor, it affects your hypothalamus, and then that sends a nerve down your spinal cord to your adrenal medulla. And this tells the adrenal medulla to secrete adrenaline and noradrenaline. And this is when the fight or flight is activated. And this leads to an increased heart rate, increased blood pressure, your respiration rate increases, you're more alert, you have a rise in high blood glucose levels, slower digestion, and reduced kidney function. Now, if the stress is long term, then your body shifts into the slow acting pathway. And this is when we have the hypothalamus alerted, and then it sends a signal to the corticotropin. Well, it sends the corticotropin releasing hormone to the anterior pituitary gland. So it starts off a little part of the brain, and then it's like, oh wait, no, we need more help. And so then it goes to the tip of the hypothalamus, which is the anterior pituitary. So hold on. So this is the hypothalamus. The anterior pituitary is right there, or right there. Anyhow, the anterior pituitary gland sends that signal to the adrenocorticotropic hormone to the adrenal cortex. Like, it doesn't even have time to go inside the adrenal cell. It just goes to the outer layer of the cortex. And it's like, hey, we need cortisol and aldosterone. So when this happens, your body's like, oh, shucks. And then you have reduced levels of serotonin, chronic low-grade inflammation, damage and shrinking in the hippocampus, damage to the endothelial lining of blood vessels. This is where the stroke, high cholesterol, the high cholesterol is because the blood pressure is going so fast that the cholesterol keeps banging up against the cell vessels and other toxins and stuff. And then you have increased insulin resistance, suppressed immune system function, impaired metabolism of protein and fats because your body is not digesting when you're in fight and flight. You got to rest for that. And then you have increased risk of cardiovascular disease and increased risk of kidney disease. And this is because the kidney disease is because when you're resting and digesting, like when you're in fight or flight, your body can't digest. All your energy and blood is getting circulated to the extremities and to your head for alertness. And it's not digesting food because if you are trying to run away from wildebeest, the last thing you need to be doing is pooping. You need to be running for safety. And so this is why a lot of people have like digestion issues and or they have issues pooping and stuff. But other issues that may come from chronic stress include headaches, heartburn, rapid breathing, risk of heart attack, pounding heart, fertility problems in both men and women, erectile dysfunction, missed periods, tense muscles. So not only headaches, but tense muscles as well. Often in the neck and shoulders as well as the jawline too. Also get low libido, stomach aches, no blood pressure, or sorry, no blood pressure, you'd be dead. But high blood pressure, high blood sugar, weakened immune system, because that chronic stress just weakens your immune system, as well as insomnia. You may have trouble not only getting to sleep, but staying asleep as well. And lastly, one issue you may get is increased depression, because when you're chronically stressed, this pulls on the chronic stress pulls on the proteins that your body needs to create other hormones, such as your serotonin and your dopamine and your other regular hormones that keep you functioning properly. And so at some point, the chronic stress can turn to burnout, meaning that you have like no more dopamine or no more like serotonin in your body to produce. And so then your body just breaks down and you just go into full blown depression. That personally happened to me. It's not fun, but one thing I will say that after experiencing that, I did manage to fully overcome my depression and burnout with my lifestyle and habit shifts. But I was still working a stressful job. So it is possible to learn how to make the possible lifestyle changes to still work a stressful job and recover from burnout. So if you need help, just let me know. I just say this all to say that your body is the only car you will ever own in this road of life. So you really have to take in consideration how you take care of your vehicle and how you want to maintain your vehicle. You want to keep the engine running perfect. You want to keep the body of the car strong and stable. Um, get your alignment. If it keeps veering off to the side, get new tires. you know um if things start shaking or feels weird, go to get it serviced. Take care of a car's physical appearance. Get that thing washed. Okay. I just know you see people driving around with the dust finger sign say "wash me" on the side of their car. Like like you want to be maintained. Okay. Appearance is everything, especially in the South. Now, if we neglect our physical body, or if we neglect our car, the engine will start working properly. Everything will just start sounding horrible. And what do? Some people, they just turn the music up louder. Like, man, you hear that noise? Nope. And then just turn the music up louder and just keep ignoring it. And then the car structure just becomes weak and things start falling apart. You see people trying to hold things together with duct tape until eventually the car will break down. And there's two different types of people. There are the people that will keep one car and keep it for 20,000 years. People with the cars from art shows since 1850. And you see some people that have to get a new car every 6 months or a year. Your maintenance really does determine how you navigate your health. So, 3 ways to maintain your health and fitness, or to maintain your metabolism. That includes, so our engine, that means our heart and lungs. We need cardio. That's both aerobic and anaerobic activity. I want to say aerobic is 60% above your maximum heart rate. So anaerobic would be 80 to 100% your cardio heart rate. But please don't fall out when you do that. An easier way to get to your anaerobic, to strengthen your anaerobic capacity, is to work on your structure. Get your 2-for-1 special. I call this with your strength training. Strength training works on your anaerobic, and this is when you're trying to work on your 1 rep max, or I want to say anywhere between your 5 rep max or less. So this is when you do an exercise, so bicep curls, and by that 5th rep, or that 1 rep, it's like you go into failure. Another way you can do that with strength training is to do HIIT classes, high intensity interval training. And this is when you do intervals. So, like 1 minute on, 30 seconds rest. And so, for that 1 minute, you are working as hard as possible to reach your goals. And with that, that works your fast twitch fibers and your ATP PC um, cycle. And that is the cycle that your body first goes to burn fat. And then lastly, to work on your overall appearance, the body shape, so you can have the glowing skin, the wonderful nails, and the strong, healthy hair. This is when you work on your food, sleep, and your stress management. Now, things that can hold us back, time is one of the biggest factors that can hold us back. Typically, what I see in busy professionals would be that work takes first, and then after that, then they have their family commitments, and then after they tuck little Timmy into bed, then they have their friends. They have to attend their friends' events and gatherings, and then their friends' children's events and gatherings. And then you have your personal hobbies that you want to go to. You like to get your hair done, you like to get your nails done, you like to go to the movies and go traveling and this and that, go on your vacations. So after all of these priorities, physical fitness typically becomes a thing on the list. Womp, womp, womp. And so what I typically see is that for busy individuals, especially for those individuals who are stuck or were stuck in that age range where they are still working and raising their kids may either be in high school or going into college, and they're also taking care of their parents. So they're a caregiver and a parent and a boss. And they help in the community, and they have to handle grief, and they have to care for others. And so sometimes they just put their own personal feelings aside to care for everybody else. And so typically their health takes a decline while they're going through all this stress and turmoil. And so then once they retire and they have the time, then they start focusing on wellness. Then they become self-centered, and then they start telling the kids, like, look, figure it out on your own. I'm retired. Leave me alone. When you make your physical and mental health levels increase, the more unfit you become. The cortisol levels increase, and then this negatively affects your mood, your relationships, your work, and your happiness. You're like, oh my gosh, then the job that you're so happy to get, you now hate to come to, and you're just unhappy. And then after a while, burnout sets in. You don't feel happy, you're unmotivated, and you don't know how to change. You're like stuck. It's like you're literally stuck, because it's like, I don't have time to exercise. I don't have time to cook. I don't even have time to clean. When I get off work, I have to go take care of this thing. I got to go worry about this thing. My kid keep calling me. They don't know how to work this. And I just want to rest. And so ultimately, when you keep going through that cycle of disease, your family, friends, and work get the most stressed, unhappy, and worst version of you. This might all sound daunting, but this needs to let you know, like, the importance of why we need to keep our body healthy and physically fit. So when we do so, we prevent disease and mobility problems. We reduce stress and improve our mood. We learn full control over our body shape. Our family, friends, and work get the best version of us. And then we stay happy and healthy for life. And so the aim is to feel 1% better every day. Now, there are 4 main things necessary for optimal health. And the first one is regular exercise. And then once you have that, then you get the balanced diet. You wouldn't expect your car to run on crappy, cheap, low quality, unleaded gas. And I know y'all know what it's like when you have been like on a road trip or something, or you were low on gas and you just want to stop somewhere and get some gas real quick. And it was like a horrible gas station, and they had some bad gas, or like the gas right before it was time for them to refill at the station. And your car just did not run as well as it did when you first when you would put in that Chevron with Techron or that shale gas, like you can tell the difference. And so, unfortunately, some people they continue to put in that low grade quality food. And I know they may be thinking like, well, I can't afford this. I can't afford to eat healthy. Well, the food that you eat now is a direct reflection on the health that you have. And so, if you're thinking about your insurance pays for everything else, your health is a lot more expensive than what you think because your insurance is covering a lot of the bills for you. And so when you do the regular exercise and your balanced diet, you're taking the power back into your hands. And another way to do that is to also manage stress. And I know I'll already mentioned how stress affects your metabolism. So I'm not even going to go into that, but it's often the most overlooked and ignored part of living a happy, healthy life. And so, in today's hectic world, we constantly ignore how stressed we are, and it can manifest in us physically. And I know a lot of people are like, "Well, I don't have a stressed life. Like work isn't that bad." But if you can consider, if you wake up to the news and then you get stuck in traffic, and then your boss is nagging you, you have a cranky client or patient, or your kids are giving you issues, or you're grieving at work, or you had an issue at the bank, or all of these little things can add up over time. And just how like water slowly wears away at rock, um, stress can slowly creep in and affect you. And if you don't know how to reset your nervous system, especially after long years of working a stressful job, it can be hard for you to reset your body from that chronic stress. Lastly, you need sleep. When the body recovers, your leptin and ghrelin hormones stay balanced. And if you have anything less than 6.5 hours of rest, your hormones are negatively affected. So, if you're trying to remain healthy, just keep in mind you need regular exercise, balanced diet, stress management, and good sleep. But do not worry, I am about to explain to you the recommendations on how to achieve all of them. So, aerobic recommendations would be 30 minutes per day, 5 days a week, and that would be of moderate intensity aerobic exercise. Um, Intense exercise, I want to say 1 to 2 times per week. So if you want to be lazy, work out harder, less times per day, less times per week. And any exercise that works your major muscle groups, not heat, but heart and lungs. Now, this includes sports, running, cycling, rowing, um, group fitness exercise, group fitness classes, all that good stuff. And for it to be considered aerobic, because I know a lot of people they come into the gym and they will sit through an entire group fitness class chatting with their friends. And I will tell you right now, if you can chat with your friend when you're exercising, your heart rate is not above 60%. You want to have your heart rate 60% or above, okay? And with that, in order to gauge that, you need the RPE scale, or rate of perceived exertion, and you can do the talk test. Test is essentially when you try to rate your heart rate level by how you talk. Like if you can have a normal conversation, you're probably between 10 to 50% at your perceived effort. Anywhere between 50 to 60, which is where like you can talk but you're like breathing or panting, like, hey, like that. But if you're like you're gasping for air and you're saying one word every breath, your heart rate is pretty high. And if you can't even breathe, not even breathe, if you can't even talk, then that is a good indication that you are at an anaerobic rate for your heart rate. So further health benefits like HIIT, metabolic conditioning, and speed work are good for aerobic exercises. Now, strength training, this is recommended to do 40 minutes per day, 2 to 3 days per week. muscle strengthening exercises. This includes free weights or machines, CrossFit, circuit exercises, as well as other forms of strength training. So the type of training is dependent on the results. So if you do, what is it, like TRX with the bands or Pilates, these may give you different results than doing just straight strength training, just hitting the machines all day. So if you really want to sculpt your body but not really get too bulky, or just really focus on building the thickness of your muscles, but you want the strength, then a different variety of strength exercises. So maybe doing weights one day and then Pilates or a water aerobics class can help you strengthen and tone your muscles. Sleep recommendations. So this is a long list of sleep recommendations. I am not going to go into deep detail, but in the follow-up email, I will give you the full list of details for the sleep recommendations. So for now, just know that when it comes to sleep recommendations, it's important to prioritize the sleep duration, maintain a consistent sleep schedule, optimize your sleep environment. So keep your bedroom cool between 60 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit or 16 to 19 degrees Celsius, and keep it dark and quiet. Limit blue light exposure before bed. Manage evening eating and caffeine intake. Also, incorporate evening relaxation strategies. Get morning sunlight exposure, and also exercise at the right time. If you exercise too close to bed, then you spike those cortisol levels, and it makes it hard to go to sleep. And I don't know why this just popped in my head, but one of the reasons why strength training affects your immune system is because when you are building muscle, you're essentially tearing the muscle and you're breaking down your muscle so you can build it back bigger and stronger. That's essential why your muscle is sore, because you tore your little muscles and your body is rebuilding it. And ideally, the perfect way to know that you're eating right and you're exercising the perfect resistance level is when you exercise and then the next day you feel okay, but then the second day is when that muscle soreness slowly starts to build in, and then it stays for like 2 or 3 days. And a good way to overcome that is to just stretch and to continue walking and to do light exercise. Just keep working through it. Walk it off. Now, stress recommendations. Stress is mainly in your head. So when it comes to managing stress, you have to find healthy ways to manage stress, such as through exercise, relaxation techniques, or spending time in nature. When it comes to mindsets, you can also avoid extremes, set priorities, change how you react to stress. Also, stop procrastinating on certain things. I know sometimes we procrastinate on things and then we be stuck in indecision for so long that we just stress ourselves out by either avoiding the situation or allowing the problem to fester and get worse and worse and worse. Also figuring out what is important. I actually coach my clients a lot on stress management and mindset shifts to overcome stress. So if you need help, just let me know. I'll send emails, follow-up emails in this. Now, before I get into the nutritional recommendations, let's talk about what people mainly do. So first of all, usually if we're stressed out, we're going through our little stress lives, or we're emotionally eating, we eat too many calories, which are too high for our energy needs, and then we become leptin resistant. And this is largely linked to processed foods. So when this happens, our metabolism is no longer affected by leptin, and we start to just gain fat. Now, Once this happens and we gain too much fat, what happens? People often go into this crash diet. And so then they're like, oh my gosh, I'm eating too many calories. Let me go in reverse. And so then they start to eat too little calories. They go on this guilt trip. So they eat too little calories for their energy needs. Their leptin drops, their metabolism slows down. Their energy levels slow. This is why when people are on crash diets, they're trying to lose weight really quickly and they eat a cracker and a grape a day. And they're like, I'm tired. I can barely do anything. But as soon as they eat a chicken sandwich, they are up and running. This is because your body, you can't you can't force your body to go to fat. Like your body needs a certain amount of nutrients for your basal metabolic rate. And when you focus on just tackling your basal metabolic rate and then moving way above that, then you can continue to lose weight. But if you just eat too few calories, you're going to slow down your fat loss. And that's why I always tell people like eating too few calories has the same results as eating too many calories. So you really got to be careful about that. And if you really want to be serious about your weight loss journey, or if you struggle with it, really find a nutrition professional like a holistic nutritionist or a dietitian that can really work with you to go through your calories and stuff. I do now offer nutrition coaching at the Baptist Healthplex. So if you need help, I will send you more information about that in the emails following this video. So getting into the fun stuff, nutrition recommendations. 3 things to focus on when you're trying to balance your metabolism. First, your macronutrients, your 3 main heavy hitters, your protein, carbs, and fats. When your protein sources, make sure they're lean meats. And what does it make? Make sure they're lean, hormone-free, cage-free. Just try to get the healthiest version. If it says free on it, then get it. But if it just says chicken and it's usually like get 85 legs for $20, and they're like the size of your 5-year-old leg, then you really need to check the quality of that chicken because it probably has additives, preservatives, hormones, and it's probably you're probably worse off than what you're with not getting it. Going into carbohydrates, choose complex carbohydrates like whole grains, fruits, and vegetables over refined carbohydrates. If you're going to do potatoes, sweet potatoes or yams are best, but regular potatoes are okay. Just keep the skin on it because the skin has extra nutrients. And just try not to go overboard. And don't try to eat like the plain potato instead of trying to fry it all the time. Fats include healthy fats in your diet, such as fatty fish, avocados, nuts, seeds, and olive oil. And when it comes to micronutrients, focus on consuming a variety of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean protein sources to meet your micronutrient needs. And specific micronutrients for metabolism include iodine, selenium, iron, and B vitamins. And these are particularly important for metabolic function. Other dietary considerations is your caloric intake. When you balance your calorie intake with your energy expenditure, you can achieve and maintain a healthy weight. Now, I don't know if I said this when I first tried to do this in-person seminar, but when you you can still eat healthy and eat too many calories. There are obese vegans and there are obese vegetarians. So it's really important to understand your caloric intake, also your stress levels. Meal frequency takes into consideration because if you are one of those people that wake up in the morning and can't really eat anything, and then you eat one big meal in the middle of the day and you just snack on everything else in the rest of the evening, that's not really conducive to a healthy metabolism. So you really need to eat regular meals and snacks throughout the day to help regulate blood sugar levels and to prevent overeating. And if you have a tough time, it's all about balance and consistency. Other things to keep in consideration: hydration, drink plenty of water throughout the day, as well as fiber. Include ample fiber in your diet from food sources like fruits, vegetables, whole grain, and legumes, which are beans. Now, if you want to lose weight without eating calories, without counting calories, you have to, one, focus on having colorful plates. And so, if I always tell my clients, like, if you get a plate of food and you will not be proud taking a picture of it and posting it on social media, then you probably shouldn't be eating it. And you know how you get the food and it's full of colorful and it has different flavors and textures. That's how you can ensure that you are getting different nutrients and vitamins in your diet. When it comes to just portion sizes, focus on having protein, the size of your palm, vegetables, the size of your fist, carbs, size of your cupped hand, as well as fat, the size of your thumb. And if you need help with your nutrition, I do have a nutrition guidebook to help you. Oh my gosh, it's just packed with a lot of nutrition facts. So it talks about eating with color food swaps, where to find nutrients, macronutrients in your food sources, how to eat for your health. It's actually really good. So that is, I'm going to start selling hard copies of that soon, but right now you can get them for free. So just be on the lookout for that. Just email me for more information. So, Lord, we made it to the end. So, anywho, choosing your physical and mental health as your number one priority is the best investment you'll ever make. And so, when you keep in mind that health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well being, and not merely the absence of disease. So, when you talk about being healthy and well, that's what we're talking about with being health, being physically, mentally, and socially well. It's not about being the absence of disease, because you can have chronic conditions and be working through that and have a wonderful support system and feel like you're in your best self. Or you can be one of those individuals that work out every day, have a strict diet, and feel alone, lonely, and frustrated with life. All right, so when we prioritize our health, and when you put your physical and mental health as your first priority 4 to 5 times per week, your good hormones and cognitive function improve. You reduce your stress levels, your cortisol, and you feel less anxious and your mind is clearer. You feel happier in general and understand how to be the best version of yourself. Not only that, but your family, friends, and work get the best version of you, making you happier overall. And so the idea is to strive to feel 1% better every day. So you only have one body for your life. And so you can either work on maintaining it with diet, exercise, and focusing on stress management, or you can let things pile up on you. You can ignore things, you can suppress your emotions, you can avoid your responsibilities, you can just come to the gym and just scan and walk back out. But your habits overall determine your life. And when you're making your habit choices now, you're not thinking about the future, but hopefully after this seminar, you will start to focus on that. And so I know it may be hard and daunting, but if you are trying to master your metabolism and it is hard for you to be consistent or stay consistent, it all boils down to habits. And so the two factors that make you succeed in anything is your belief in the process and the daily action. And so oftentimes people quit their health and fitness goals simply because either they don't believe in the process or they aren't consistent in their methods. And so you really have to find that balance in a process that you not only believe in, but that offers you a method that you will be excited to take daily action. And that is something that I coach my clients on in my health coaching services. So that is it for this Mastering Your Metabolism seminar. If you have any questions, please let me know. I hope this has helped. And if you want access to the resources, please just reach out to me. I'm happy to help. All right, y'all. Talk to you later.